If an emergency was to break out in your daycare, what would you do? Do you have the necessary or the proper equipment to help treat that particular emergency? Today, we're going to be talking about first aid kits. I want to ask you a question. Where's your first aid kit? Do you have one? Well, if you don't, you need to get you one because when you're working in health care or child care or, any type of a business, it's always good to have a first aid kit. And there are many varieties, many different flavors, many different type of brands. There's up to 160 plus different types of first aid kits. And in this broadcast today, I'm going to share with you one that seems to have everything that is needed just in case a minor emergency occurs at a place of work. And I want to share that with you. My name is Leon Porter, and I truly thank Ms. Porter for allowing me, Mrs. Porter, for allowing me to be here today to share this benefit with you, this information with you. But first, I want to get into what a first aid kit is. What is a first aid kit? Do you take first aid kits seriously? Well, if not, that means you don't have one. It may have been something that came across your mind to do regarding implementing safe practices at your facility, but you never got around to it. Well, you don't want to procrastinate when it concerns first aid kits, because first aid kits have a vital part when it concerns your daycare and the precious little ones, the children that you watch. And even for adults, first aid kits come in handy as equal. So I want to share with you some information about first aid kits. But before we get into that, I want to show you the one that is actually, this is one that we keep handy. And this is one of them actually. But this particular first aid kit is what we had purchased from Walmart. Walmart has a lot of different type of products, as you know, and this one stood out because I like the color. We like color here at the Knee-High Connections, as you can tell. But this particular first aid kit caught my eye, and when you're in the business of or in the process of selecting a first aid kit, it's more than just visual aesthetics, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that looks good, I want to get it. No, it's what's on the inside that matters. And so I just wanted to add that in there as a side note. But we're going to get into what's inside of this first aid kit. But first, I want to share with you the different reasons why you need a first aid kit. Well, because when a first responder is not there to respond, you are ready to be that first responder for that child or for that adult. That's one of the benefits, the first benefit regarding the first aid kits that you need to keep in mind. The next point of benefit of a first aid kit is, we only have so much blood. We only have so many liters of blood in our body. And we're talking about something that is more serious than that emergency that could happen at your facility. But if someone is bleeding profusely, like a child accidentally cut a major blood vessel, or they're bleeding, you want to be there to stop that bleeding in a hurry. You don't want to procrastinate. And another thing, when it concerns dealing with blood, you want to ensure that your facility has everything there, or you have everything that you need to protect yourself when it concerns dealing with blood or bleeding. So you don't want the child to bleed out or the adult to bleed out, and you want to understand this. You take CPR and first aid and infant CPR and all the different type of varieties. That's more than just sitting in the class and just to be counted on the roll that you were there. when you're in these classes or in those classes, those CPR classes, that is, take note, because that is very important information that the healthcare provider or that fire marshal or fire man or woman or the EMS personnel professionals, this very important information that they're sharing with you regarding first aid is more than just getting credentialed. You may have to, you may be put to the test one day to implement what you learn. And if you haven't learned anything, then it's going to cause a lot of issues. And I just wanted to share that with you. First aid is very important, so pay attention and always be ready. The next point on the reason why first aid kits are very important is because kids will be kids. Okay, they run, they grapple, they tumble, they flip, they roll, they jump, they skip. They do all these different type things, and while they're in the process of doing those things, they can come in contact with another child. They can come in contact with an object inside of your daycare, such as a table or a chair. There are many different type of things that can happen because children will be children. Despite how diligent you are at keeping those little ones in control, a lot of times they can be like tumbleweeds in the wind and just be all over the place. And despite your efforts to keep them, in a certain area, and accidents can happen. So you want to have a first aid kit there to help that child if they accidentally injure themselves. Liability is the next point, and that is a big one. If you don't have liability insurance and you got the parents to sign liability, I don't have liability insurance forms, and got them to agree to that, then that's good, because that's part of business. You're telling them the truth that you don't have liability insurance, and that helps that particular family to make an informed decision whether they want to allow their child to come into your facility, knowing that you didn't have liability insurance, or, go elsewhere. But nevertheless, you were transparent with them about not having liability insurance. But liability is very important because you don't want to get sued by not taking those proper steps, getting them to fill out that information, of course, because that's business. But you don't want to think about being sued, and a lot of businesses are required to keep a first aid, and childcare facilities is one that is required, because you are a business. You're not a hobby. You are a business, and you want to make sure, as I emphasize again, that you have a first aid kit handy and know how to use it, when to use it, when things or accidents occur. The next point when it concerns first aid kits is to protect your employees or people you care about. We did touch on that. And it reads here, when injury occurs, a stock first aid kit can save someone's life, but you need to know how to use it. So educate yourself more on that if you feel as though that you need to educate yourself about it more. Cost savings. It is cheaper, I'm going to read this to you. It is cheaper to clean a cut and put a bandage on it than it is to travel to the clinic to seek first aid. It is expensive going to the emergency room and the clinic, but go there. If it is a serious injury, you go there to seek medical attention to help save that child's life or that adult's life when it is out of control. You don't have any control over the situation. So that's very important. The next point of benefit of having a first aid kit is accidents are unexpected. We touch bases on that. So that's another reason why it's important to have a first aid kit, because it always keeps you on the ready. It always keeps you prepared to be that first responder, during that time of need. Time is of the essence is the next benefit. First aid kits is just that. It helps to alleviate the situation temporarily until you can get the proper medical help or attention that you need, or that child needs, or that individual needs. The last few points before close. Small injuries can become big injuries. Well, how does that happen? Mr. Porter, well, let me share this with you. It says the longer you wait for treatment, the more severe your injury can become, and that's self-explanatory. Lastly, it gives you peace of mind. First aid kits give you peace of mind, because it's always good to have it and not need it than to need it and what? Not have it. And the it here that we're talking about, again, is first aid kits. I'm not going to draw this particular broadcast out much longer, but I do want to share with you what's inside of this particular first aid kit. And as you can see on the screen, there's 250 pieces within this first aid kit. And I'm just going to read to you. Well, let me open it up here. That way I can give you a visual of what is inside of this packet without things falling out. Of course, you got the Band-Aids, you got the antiseptics, you got the alcohol, you got the cold prep items, and you have the tongue depressors. You got all these different type of items, and it does separate to help ease of use during an emergency. Here we have a cold compress. This particular kit has a cold compress. You need a cold compress to help reduce swelling, just in case something occurs to where a child bumps his or her head, and you want to reduce the swelling, because you don't want them walking around your daycare with, a swollen head. Then you have gloves. They will protect you from blood. If there's any type of bleeding. Tongue depressor. This particular kit has. You also have Q-tips. And this is important to apply the antibiotic or antiseptic to the wound. Tweezers, okay, splinters are, and sometimes seems to be inevitable in many cases. Then you want to know how to get. You want to learn, I should say, and know how to remove that particular splinter if that occurs at your facility. And you have gauze pads. There's a numerous amount of things within this particular kit. Of course, the Band-Aids, the antiseptics, and all these different type of things that you need just in case of an emergency. And look at this. This particular kit has safety pins. Wow. I like that. And you got the tape. But I may do another video on the more extensive, video for you later on regarding these particular items that have been introduced to you, and I think I'll do just that. But to keep this video from getting so long and drawing it out, I'll do another video for you regarding the items that are in this first aid kit. So there'll be a follow-up from this video that you're seeing today. Well, that concludes today's broadcast, and I know it probably extended longer than usual. Again, big thanks to Mrs. Porter for allowing me to be here, and we thank you for being here today too to watch these particular broadcasts, and hopefully you've learned something regarding first aid kits, because it's a vital part of what you need in your business when it concerns prosperity. All right, till next time, bye-bye.